whatever time you're listening to us. We're just so grateful that you are here. We have our second guest star today. If you see over, we have Blake Harmer. He's one of the co-founders of Bearfoot. Of course, as always, we have Tanner Rahoy, and my name is Parker Wyatt. Yeah, before we get into talking with Blake, we got a lot of great things that we're going to ask him, and he's going to talk with us about. I just want to talk about some of the things that we have going on. First, if you did not see, we do have a TikTok now. Blake, I don't know if you knew about that, but we have a Big Bear Theory TikTok.
Hopefully it doesn't get banned.
And it is. Oh, I know, right? I saw the bill go out. I was like, of course, as soon as I get this, there's a bill going out to ban TikTok.
It's probably that day.
I think it was. It was really close to it. I remember that. So yeah, fingers crossed because we're popping on it. It's actually doing just as well as our Instagram, and we have like less than 1% of the same followers. So sad to see, but we'll see how it goes. YouTube is actually doing really well, so don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube. And Facebook is still dead, guys. Come on, give me to 33. We've been 32 for like 3 weeks now.
I don't think Facebook is our like target audience, to be honest.
I just want to believe in Facebook, man. That's my platform. That's what I thrive off of. So all these other things I can't even figure out. So like you, Tanner, I'm an old soul, but at least I used one of them.
90s kid.
There's a funny episode, Blake, where I think it was like the first time we did shout outs. We do like shout outs appreciation, everybody that's followed us. And Tanner was the second one.
Oh, nice. Shout out,
I
Tanner.
mentioned.
Hey, shout out to my mom. Maybe she'll do the Facebook like, all right?
There we go. We'll be sure to at her and make sure she gets the gist.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we're interviewing Blake, talking with Blake. What has it been? Is this our 15th or 16th year?
2008 is when we formed. So yeah. This is year 16.
Wow,
it's crazy.
It's
almost as old as
our company can drive. So,
hey, man, we can't wait to get our driver's license.
Very, very excited.
I know we should not let Charles drive. If I recall him driving,
very fast driver,
side by side.
Responsible.
It's funny.
Well, that's a good segue. I mean, I feel like that's a really good story to like start it off, Blake. I guess how did you and Charles meet?
We actually had like a college class together, like a like community college class together, and we started like just kind of like teasing someone, honestly, just like like randomly. Of course, that's going to be what it is me. And then we started just kind of like laughing and having a good time, and we became real quick friends after that. What's really funny though is we went to the same high school, but we're in completely different social circles, and so never really knew each other at all. I was like, oh, you went to Dulles, huh? Yeah, so yeah, it was real good though. So
Blake, you were like me, right? You were the preppy guy.
Yeah. But I was really friends with like a lot of different people. That's kind of been my whole life, really. Is I've kind of always kind of fit in and been able to meet people and become friends with a lot of different people. So
I can agree with that. If you spend 5 minutes with Blake, you would understand that he is the most welcoming human ever. Not surprised that you had just kind of floated through.
Yeah. Like, I'll make fun of myself and, I think people dig that.
Well, you're
I think it's important to be able to laugh with yourself. To me, that's really what kind of made me feel more comfortable, was the fact that I do funny things, and that's fine.
Yeah. So I guess how far along, like into y'all's relation or like friendship, did y'all like kind of brainstorm Bearfoot? Because I'm assuming it like took some years of like creation and kind of like planning out.
Yeah, what's really funny about that is so Charles and I we met, became friends, and then he like was working at a pool, and I love that. I love swimming and always been a swimmer, and um, so decided to kind of work with him for the summer as like a manager, and we actually like opened up a pool that it was like their first summer open, and Charles and I opened up the facility, and so we worked really well together, and had a lot of fun. And then we worked for another company. We moved to Austin and then worked for another company the following summer, and didn't have a real great experience with that. And so that's when the wheels started kind of turning for us, is like, oh, like, hey, we're good at this. And then these people are not. And yet, they're the kind of like the leaders and the business owners. And so that's kind of what inspired us to kind of get going and get Barefoot going. And it was kind of like, hey, if these people can do it, why not us? And so Charles started he had like a lot of experience within like first aid because he was an Eagle Scout. And so he was really comfortable and kind of like the training, and he was like the operations guy. And I was kind of like the business guy, sort of like, I was drafting the contracts and working on payroll and things like that. And it was really, really fun times because, we're just always kind of seeking out the answers to questions we didn't even know at the time. And so it was, it's been a really great learning experience, and we've gotten closer and closer all the time, so we've gone through a lot of things together, and the ups and downs of owning your own business, and learning the hard lessons. And so it's been a great experience for sure.
So just for update, because you both were around 19 years old when you started this company. And I mean, where did you even, like, to me, it's like, how do you even start? Like, was there like a lot of Googling or research, or did you just kind of plug and play and just see what happened? Like, I've always been curious about like the contracts, payroll.
Yeah, there was a lot of Googling for sure. What was really good was like Charles had a friend that was an attorney, and like he helped us quite a bit in terms of like forming the LLC. And really, like, I got to give credit to Charles a lot. Like, he was really like the guy, like, spearheading a lot of it, and like kind of like making the trail for us, as I would say, and was never afraid of like a question, and so really kind of what it was like we had each other's backs, and so like we weren't going to let each other fail. Like, what, if Charles said something, like I was going to do my utmost to make sure that happened. And so that's kind of the dynamic that kind of formed between us. So he had a lot of courage, and I was kind of there behind him, making things happen. So, but yeah, knowing the right people, having the right relationships, and then being kind of brave enough to put yourself out there. That's really kind of the formula to our success there. So.
Funny we talk about the brave concept, because a lot of what we've experienced over time is that people are so fearful, to even take the first step, because there's so many what ifs. And, I think this is a great constitute to what you're saying, right? Imagine we play like, what if, we don't know how to do a contract. What if the contract is like not legal? Or, what if we do payroll wrong? And we could play the what if games on this company. So to me, it shows, you don't have to be masters or doctorate in business to be able to start a company. You just have to kind of, like you said, know the right people, or know some people to kind of get the wheels turning, and like take action from there. And, you can always improve over time to get it to where it is today. So pushing into that, what what would you say that you initially needed to kind of get Bearfoot running to, kind of take its kick and to create kind of a system of like levelness, I guess, say where it's running and it's running well. And then what do you think you would need, kind of like a two-parter, I guess? What do you think you need to kind of get it to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the easy thing is going to be like, customers, of course. Like you need customers for your business. And, I think that's just, again, it's like putting yourself out there and not being afraid of making connections. And like Charles and I, we started just going like community to community, like face to face with people. And that was like a really rewarding experience. Like literally, I think it was like the second community we went to was Providence, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we do have a problem." We're able to be intentional and like solve their issue, which was like the lifeguards not doing what they were supposed to and not staffing it appropriately, and kind of like taking advantage of the situation. And so we were like, okay, we're going to kind of do things the right way. And, I think really what it was like Charles and I took a very like hands-on approach with everything. Like we were in the middle of it all. And that was like a really great plan for starting up. I think as we grew, the lessons that we had to learn was like how to manage things on scale. And like that really comes down to like having systems and having ways of looking at things in like the big picture, and then having people that you can trust to execute their departments. And so really it's like having the right seats, the right like department heads, and like filling those seats with the right people, and then kind of supporting them and being like the problem solver for those people. So that's kind of how I view it, and in terms of like kind of like our progression as a company. And then what do I think it needs to go to really the next level? I think we've built good systems. I think really what it comes down to is like being able to bring in more people to like go after different cities, different parts of the industry, really. And like that's what we're kind of scratching the surface on now, in terms of like a lot of the work that like Kevin's working on and Jonathan are working on, in terms of like maintenance and repairs and doing large like construction stuff. And then Parker, the angles that you're kind of taking with like our training, and how we want to like broaden that out to the rest of the industry. And then we're coming up with some cool products like I'm really excited about the tube. We keep on having to redesign that bad boy, but hey, like Kevin and I were talking, and it's like, hey, we want to be like patient and make sure that it's like exactly what we want and right, and like take critiques well. And so so I think it's really just kind of like finding different different avenues within the industry and kind of expanding on that.
That critique thing is very good, because I know that's been hard for me to, like the tube, in particular. It's like, obviously we need to hear these critiques. Like, why am I defending a tube that's in prototype mode? But I will, like, yeah, it's a little thick, but we can work around it. And it's like, no, it's thick. That's what we need to skinny it up. And so it's been funny kind of dealing with that, and also the patience aspect, because I know we've really tried to push this too for about 3-ish years now. But it's, playing that, just step by step to make, the best product that we can make and provide has been very, very good. So it's been cool.
I think
all this and going through it.
I think like the tube is like a really good example of like, it brings up a good question that I have. And I think like one of the first things I noticed like about this company, and especially like working with this company, is y'all are very patient. and you're like very honest, and in your like business moves and everything that you do, it's like very meticulous. So like, can you kind of like speak to that? Like, I know that's probably like a conscious decision that like you and Charles have had, and I'm sure there's been opportunities in the past where you could have probably jumped to like make that extra money, but it may not have benefited y'all in like the long haul and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna credit Charles again on that. Is he's really um, like he cares about the details of things and like the quality of things. And I think I'm more of like a process, larger picture, how do we solve the problem kind of guy. But like his passion for the details and the quality, I think, is really what's behind that. And so again, I think it's like this like this like harmony of like working together and like me like caring about him. I'm like wanting him to be like satisfied or happy with what's going on within his company and our company. I think that's kind of like a really key driver in that. So yeah, that's how I would kind of say that.
And then Blake, you carry one of the huge principles that, we really try to push. And I know Charles, he pushes the leadership and kind of the development of today's generation. But you are huge on, pretty much what you represent. Like I said, if you spend 5 minutes with Blake, he's a great human being, and he truly takes time to get to know you. I mean, he is the guy. If you ever see him order a sandwich at Eatsy's or a salad at Eatsy's, I mean, he shows so much appreciation for that. And so your overall principle being kindness, and where does that like come from, and really what does it mean to you that you would want to pass down to everyone else?
I would say when I was younger, I went through some like pretty difficult things. And I think that gave me a good perspective on like what is important in life. And so like I think it like just kind of like I'm struggling here a little bit. Sorry.
No, you're good. Take your
I think
time.
it just like that shaped me so much. Where I hate to say like pain, but like this pain like shaped me so much, and I felt the like the depths of like raw human sadness, and then being able to like see the rest of the world in like in a better light. So you got to see like the darkness, I guess, to see like the light. And so it made me want to like be genuine with like anyone that I was around. And I think it's also served me because like when I feel that someone's not being like genuine to me, when I get that like gut instinct, I'm like very wary of that individual or that person. And so I think it's helped like protect me in a sense of like, hey, I'm going to put myself out there and be a kind person. And then, I'm going to be able to like see how you respond to that and how you interact with me. And then I can kind of like work with that, So I really think just kind of like going through the experiences of life and like kind of the hardships of life. Again, it's given me kind of like this perspective of appreciation of like the good, and like, getting a great salad at Eatsy's, hey, thank the person that's making you that salad.
That's true. Yeah, because I mean, he'll order the salad and he's just like, "Thank you so much for this," and I'm just like, man, it's even cool to watch, Blake. Like I don't know if we give enough credit to that aspect of it, but I mean, I gotta say, like that probably does like make their day, just by that contribution, and I just want to give you kudos for that, because it truly is like I know it sounds like it's like weird, but I mean the amount of, if we all like were just
acted that way,
appreciative, actively appreciating one another. I know Charles's big saying is like, if if one person in this world loved another, no one would go unloved. And
what's
I
funny,
think
my
that's
wife,
ways to show it.
my wife teases me because she's like she's like, the way people look at you when you're like, hey, what's up, how's it going, like
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
what? And so she thinks it's hilarious.
It is.
So
It's good. It's a good funny.
yeah, no,
It's like
really
a whoa, but then it's also like, I could do this, like I'm feeling it. Yeah, it's like man.
And
So
it's like really helped me a lot because I have like so many different, again, like going back to like high school, I even currently have so many different like friend groups and people that support me. And it's amazing. And I feel just so fortunate because I've got wonderful people around me, and not a lot of people can say that they have that. And so I really like want to nurture that and be intentional with that. Because like, you never know when your friends are going to move away or, something happens and, you don't see them for a while. And so it's like, like savor those moments. And like even today, like my buddy just got back from Ecuador and we all met up for breakfast and, right before class and hung out and, welcomed him back and then went and trained together, so, it's always important to have great groups of people around you. You learn so much from different people and it's really important.
And I noticed you said train together as of, jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah.
Speaking.
Now I was telling Tanner right before this, I can get into tangents with both of y'all, like sports, jiu-jitsu with Parker. I gotta be careful. I gotta be real careful.
Who would have thought that this podcast would just turn to you guys?
You notice how I swung in jiu-jitsu there right away.
Yeah.
So
I figured I could deflect that away, man.
All the defenses, yeah. Man, that's funny. Did you? This is kind of a random question, but did you play sports growing up?
Not really. I like swam a little bit and I golfed a little bit, but not really. Yeah.
What's your handicap?
Oh, dude, not great. Some friends were talking about going today, and I was like, I don't know, man. It's been a while.
I have clubs that I actually lost at one point. And it's not the fact that I lost them. It's that I put them back in my dad's house because I didn't use them. And then I wanted to use them and couldn't find them. So Tanner keeps playing golf without me, without any invite. So I think there's...
Hey, you both have seen my skills at Top Golf.
That's
or Big Shots.
You see my skills
Tanner,
at Top
I think
Golf.
you saw me retire from golf the last time we went to Top Golf. I was like, I think
that was like the last time
you're done here.
Gosh, well, I take pride in the fact being the guy that made Blake retire.
Yeah.
I like that Chad and I get into these competitions.
Yeah, that is good. That is really
at the end. It is funny, Tanner, Blake is quite the swimmer. And so if you're looking for those swim lessons that I wouldn't say swim lessons, but swim improvements. Yeah, swim pointers. Blake's got them. Yeah. I'll never forget. We used to do the 600-yard swim, Blake, that like extra long swim that we did in service. Oh, yeah. Kind of like a little midsummer initiation. And I mean, I'm not like a phenomenal swimmer, but I always thought like I was pretty good. And I didn't realize Blake was a swimmer at the time. And so Blake and I were running in service together and we're like swimming and I'm going hard. And Blake is like perfectly in front of me. Like I could probably touch his feet if I really was stretching out. And I was like, all right, I'm going to coast it out. And then like the last 100, I'm going to be speedy and take him out. That way I can say, I beat the owner in a swim competition that he didn't know he was a part of. And so I start speeding up and he's like, it literally looks like Blake's putting in no effort, but I can't catch up to him. And so I speed up a little bit more and he's like just like flying through. And at the very end, I am like just straight up breathing, like breathing. And we get done with the swim, and he goes, "Oh, it was a pretty good little swim." He was totally fine. And I was
Playing
like,
it off.
"Blake, how are you this good at swimming?"
Oh,
And
wow.
that was the day I found out. Man, dude, cheating. But it proves, man, like once you get good at swimming, like it's almost like riding a bike. Like you really just can't backtrack from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, the thighs and hammies might burn a little bit, but that's the worst of it.
Still was, well, yeah, it was the day I got defeated. And my other favorite, I have two favorite memories of Blake. So one was a swim, in fact, he beat me. Two was we were trying to set times for spinal backboarding. And I can't remember if it was with, I want to say it was with Charles. And Blake was the primary. He was the one that was going to, do the spinal save and put him on the backboard, and they were going to work together. And Blake was singing Eye of the Tiger as he was doing the save. And literally, because we all start about the same, it's about 10 or 15 feet away. You have to turn the victim 180 to check out the bin and everything like that. And still, with all of that, they did it in like 37 seconds.
Jeez.
Perfect. Yeah, was that like Greenwood, right? It was like Greenwood.
It was at Greenwood. Yeah, it was at Greenwood. But I'll never forget like him singing Eye of the Tiger and like holding the victim. Yeah. There's a video somewhere, but it's so long gone. It's so sad.
Yeah, that was the thing. But, yeah. When Charles and I like worked as guards, when we were teenagers, like we would do that. Like at in service, we would sing like the Baywatch theme and wreck in service. we were the best ones though, because we like cared about what we were doing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's what we stress. If you can be the best, you can sing.
Oh yeah. I
was gonna say, who's better lifeguard?
I mean, I would say like at land skills, Charles will run circles around me, but in the water, I'll run circles around Charles.
Charles is a little dense, man.
I'll get him to the wall and then let Charles deal with him. How about that?
There you go. Always been such like the tag team on that. I remember when we recorded videos, we were trying to get some like underwater shots, and Charles was like our cameraman. And it wasn't like super warm, but it wasn't like super cold. Like it was one of those where you could kind of get used to water if you swam a little bit. But Charles, man, like he was like 11% body fat, if that. And so you have to come to go in, and he would just come out. He's like, "Oh," like just trying to grunt out the cold.
That's funny.
And I was always grateful to have so I don't work out. Like I always say, I float a little bit, and I'm a little more insulated.
Well, what do you think? I have a good question for him.
Okay.
Yeah. You could have probably guessed this one was coming, but what if you had to like name just like a few qualities like that you would want to have in lifeguards working for us? Like, what would you say?
That's a good one.
Well, I would definitely say like kindness is a one. Like, being like kind to each other and like being able to like interact with one another in like a good way. That's really important to me. Like my kind of goal for our employees, a lot of them are going to be having jobs for like the first time, or it's their first couple of jobs with us. And so I always want them to have like a good experience and like learn what it is that, like how a job should treat you and how you should like interact with your work and how bosses should treat you and stuff like that. So like kindness, respect, that's like another big one. Like respect the job that you have. Like it is serious. You could have to like save a small child's life. And things happen very quickly. And so being able to respect like that dynamic is really, really important. I always say this at training, but like intentionality, like whatever you're doing, like focus on it, be mindful with that, put effort into the things that you're doing. I really believe that like you should put your best effort into like the things that you're doing in your life, whether that's playing basketball, whether that's working out, doing jujitsu, being like a father, son, daughter, like whatever your role in life is, like taking that on in an intentional way and like doing the best that you can at it. And I don't think that that's like a necessarily like a natural skill, but it is something that you can learn and work on and again, be like intentional with. And so I really would say those are really the kind of the qualities, our core values: compassionate, integrity, um,
Mm,
leadership.
the
Yeah,
whole
that
leadership.
natural leadership ability is like really cool. Like that's one
Yeah.
of my favorite things is seeing people that are like natural leaders and then they get like kind of like honed within and like kind of shaped within our company and then they go and do wonderful things. And so that's always really, really cool to see. So yeah, I think that's what I would say.
That's awesome.
That was real good. I like the intentionality. I think
Yeah.
that's huge because it's I think it's what I may have talked about before, but it's like, man, I think really what has kind of defined like good, I wouldn't even say good employees, like just good people, is that intentionality. The intentionality to be good for themselves, the intentionality to be a good friend, good family member, and it just takes that intention to kind of step yourself up a little bit more. I thought that was good.
Yeah, 100%. I think
Well, go ahead,
Blake. Oh,
Tanner.
sorry, cutting you off. I think Blake. I mean, you brought it up, man. Like talking about work ethic. I mean, like we talk about it all the time, where it's like that's like a skill that you have to like kind of learn and like hone in on. I feel like very few people just have it, like when they're born and are just like, given that. So it's awesome that like this company kind of brings that out of people. Like it brings the best out of people. And like we see it all the time, like year in and year out, there's guards who they come in with us and maybe they're not, the best at their land skills or water skills. But some of those people, like because of their personality, they turn out to be our best employees. And that's like
no,
the beauty
definitely.
of it all,
Well, and I think like you gotta be exposed to like being able to balance the things in your life. And like I feel like that is a kind of like a difficult thing for people in general to do. And I think people get like blindsided when they have like major life changes and then they have to like adapt to those things. And so like starting out and learning how to balance a job and going to school, like just something as simple as that, can give you tools and mindsets that are going to serve you when you're a parent or married or whatever. I really think kind of learning those simple lessons and like, starting to apply them as early as possible really does make a big difference in your quality of life.
Yeah, practice it now while you're young, man. Because like anything, the older you get, when you start, I mean, the harder it is to learn. And that's kind of like the big thing that I always push is, especially to me, the school and work at the same time. Because in college, man, I just feel like there's almost no way you can't not work. It's very rare. So if you're blessed, be blessed. But it's being able to set your mind to expand past what we want the 9 to 5 to be. I think is very crucial, because life will get you, and life has the tendency to say, I don't want you to just focus on 9 to 5. I want you to focus on 8 to 10. And it's not always, and it's not permanent, but it can be very overwhelming when you have no choice but to make that work, versus when you have the support of the people around you. Like that's why I love Bearfoot is, you can work, go to school, you can learn the concepts of what it means to be a professional, what it means to be a leader, what it means to multitask multitude of things. And should it get overwhelming, or should it get to a point where it's overwhelming, then we can have those open conversations to help you with that. And that's something that we didn't, we haven't really heard a lot of, because our season's pretty much May 1 to September 30th, and some pools a little bit longer, but basically that's it, right? So we get to hear a lot of people that have other jobs that don't have that open communication available. And like we heard like Chick-fil-A, right? Where they were doing, these people are literally monitored by the minute on how they perform things. And if they don't meet that minute margin, then they're already like ticked off, essentially. They're not ticked off, like upset, but they have like a strike on their plate now that they have to meet. And that's what I love that we do is we focus on business strategy and how to create process and develop those processes to make sure that it's even, to make sure that we have standards that make sense. But we also have that open line of communication that a lifeguard day one could probably call you and like you'd be like, all right, hey, like what's going on? And then the follow-up of that would also be crucial. Like you would spend the time to listen to what they have to say, and then it would all go down the chain, like, hey, like what's going on here? This is what I got. Like, and we'd have essentially the whole line of the company being able to take care of the situation. And I think that's a very cool concept that maybe we don't get to see on a daily basis, but it's super crucial to me. It's part of why I fell in love with this company, was that open willingness to help each other. And it didn't matter whether they were day one lifeguard or up to you guys. And I love the fact that we all share this no matter like what level we're at. And I think, what would you say? I don't know. It's like I'm kind of inspired to ask a question or things like that. But where is there a way that like this happened, or was this just kind of like what Bearfoot was like meant to be? Was just this open line to help in all these different ways versus just being the standard like
I know for Charles and I, it was intentional that we wanted to run our company like different from like corporations, like what you're talking about, where like you're basically monitored by the minute and have these minute by minute goals. And I really can't speak to like Charles's kind of strategy on this, but I know for me, like I love history. That is my that's my one of my other passions, is I just love reading about it. I get very inspired by that. And like one of the things that I've noticed throughout the years with like successful like cultures, civilizations, like militaries, is like this like sense of like having an objective, but like not like leaving the people on the ground to like be able to find their individual strategy towards achieving that objective, right? And so like take like training for instance, is it's like I'm not dictating to you, Parker, how training needs to like evolve or adapt, but the goal and objective that I've given you is like lifeguards need to be trained by pool opening dates. We need to get that done. And how are we going to get it done? And then allowing you to form your strategy on that, and then speak into that, and be a resource to that, and like let you find the dead ends, and then come back and okay, let's find the detour of this dead end together. And I think that strategy has served us very well. I think in some instances, like in the past, like managers might kind of mess that up a little bit, and that's why like I've like, again, come to you and said, hey, we need to have like a way that we're training these managers to get them to where we need them to have that type of mindset and strategy where we can give them the objectives and they can strategize for themselves. Okay, on the ground level, how am I going to make this happen? And then help them speak into that and give them strategies and different ways to do that. So.
Well, I think I got all my questions and insight. Tanner, do you have anything else for good old Balake?
Not at the moment. I feel like something's going to come in my head in like the next 2 minutes.
That's all right. Well, Blake, he travels a lot during the summertime. So if you ever have the opportunity to meet Blake, I mean, with intention, talk with him. He's a great human being, absolutely fun to talk to. Has great insights. If you're a history buff, I mean, for real, Blake is. We did a book club sort of thing with all of the full timers, where we each got to pick our own book and talk about it. And this man literally picked like a textbook, ish. Sort of. It was oh man, you told me about it, but it was like the first historian or one of the first historians to like actually write history. Really. Yeah. There you go. So that's Blake for you. So he's got a lot of cool stuff on that. But like I said, just a great person to talk to. He loves getting to know everybody. He's super friendly. So just can't encourage that enough. If you see him in Houston, you see him DFW, give him a hello, high five, and go from there. Well, Blake,
I think I got one question.
Oh. I take back my thank you, Blake. You're no longer Greta.
You're no longer thank you. And you honestly may have already answered this with like your love for history, but like, is that what you were going for?
My wife was talking about this the other day too, and she was like, "Yeah, you wanted to be like a history professor." Or we were talking about it yesterday, and so yes, that's what I was going to school for. So I wanted to teach history. Yeah.
Dang.
We'll see. I was actually talking.
The cool thing is like you can always go back.
Like, man, maybe in like a few years when all the kids are really in school and got some time. But man, what I was gonna say earlier when we were talking about like learning how to balance things is like for the majority of people, you don't get less responsibility as you get older. It just stacks and stacks and stacks. So
the hardest facts in the
gym
world.
Analogy is you got to be able to keep putting weight on and keep training. So yeah.
That's a good analogy.
Perfect. You actually, because I still remember this to this day. It's like one of the funniest conversations we had. But you saw this as like needing to be a pivotal thing to be able to balance work and personal life and family and all this. And it was, gosh, it must have been like forever, 5 or 6 years ago. But you saw the real big need for a routine.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, because Charles made us like, what are we working on ourselves at this time? And Blake said, I want to build a routine for my life. And we all laughed. And it was like, because, Blake was a lot like me, how I am, right? Like, just we're going to make it happen one way or another. And that's how it's going to be. But you saw the point that it needed to change to build a routine. And what was like that point that you felt like the need to make that switch, and like how has it changed your life now? I already know the answer to part 2, but I was because man,
I mean, really, it was like my kids being born, like my daughter. So I mean, like ask like Charles and Gabby and everyone. Like those first couple of years were pretty rough for me, and like so. Like it like had to happen for me to be like successful or be able to participate in anything in like a real way. And so that was really the the motivation for it, I think, is like the responsibilities, like, again, just kept getting stacked. And then, okay, it's like, I got to find a way to deal with this. And, that's the way to do it, is to build a routine. And, so, if you have these like set things that you're going to be doing every day, every week, it gives you the ability to kind of plug and play with some stuff. And so it does like empower you more. So not to like, get Jocko in here, but discipline really does bring you freedom, because you're able to make things happen in the way that you want them to happen, because you're disciplined to be able to do it. And it's pretty funny. Like I get like, I go into periods where like I'm on my routine, and when I get stumbled, and so it was funny. Like I was prepping for a competition at the beginning of the year. I got in really, really good shape. And then this last like month and a half, like I've just like, eating bad food, not really caring, not really being too, and then I got hurt. And so like, then I really didn't care because I'm like, I'm just like nursing some injuries. And so on Friday, it was really funny. The guy who owns our gym, Robert, he's just like this really intense, funny guy. And he like pats me on my stomach, and he was like, "That wasn't there like a month ago." and then we like keep going on the conversation. And he's like, I like really don't respect people who like just kind of let themselves go. And I was like, oh,
jeez,
God,
man.
Robert. And he was like talking about people who just like, really, but I took it on the chin. And so, that night I'm like, all right, it's time to start lifting again. So I'm 3 days back to lifting in a row. And then today I trained super hard at noon, like where I just was giving it all. And I was like, all right, like, I'm gonna take it seriously. And so it's good to have those people that will speak into your life. And he wasn't being mean or anything like that. He was teaching me in a really loving way. But he spoke truth to me. And so, I said earlier, it's important to have those people in your life that will keep it real with you and have that all around you, because, it's easy to get lost in yourself and your circumstances and lose kind of like that self-awareness on things. And that's another trait that I would say I would love for all my employees to have, is to know themselves, and like know when other people are comfortable or uncomfortable, and being able to adapt within those situations and do the right thing within those things, and know when to step back or when to lean in and be like, hey, it's okay, and so I mean, really knowing yourself in a way that makes you comfortable to be around others. And I think a lot of times people just get like kind of built up with the fears of situations. Like I know that's for me, is like I'll fixate on like something that's coming up, like this podcast. I was like thinking about it for like 2 days, and then it's just like, hey, it's me talking to Parker and Tanner. It's not a big deal. And so the fears that you build up within yourselves are always worse than what the reality is. And one of my favorite things that I've learned in my life is the person who lies to you the most is yourself.
Yes, I was hoping that was about to come up.
Doubt yourself. Doubt your doubts. Like those lies and those doubts that come through. Be like give them a double check. And sometimes it's true. Like sometimes there are situations that you should respect and fear, but you build up the courage and you face them, and you see what happens. You punch it. Well, that's another favorite phrase of mine. Punch a hole in it, see what happens, and go with it. So yeah.
One of my my favorite advice, you're talking about courage and battling this fear, is you let the fear show you what to be aware of, and then you use the courage and you prepare to conquer that fear. And the more prepared you are to conquer that fear, the easier it is to do it. And I think we talked about like a fire, right? And like if you just ran through a fire, willy nilly, then you're probably going to get severely burned and may not, it may not work out very well. But, if you start preparing, you get a blanket, find a way to like, breathe properly and things like that, you're going to be more willing and more confident to take that on. Even if it's not a full blown fire suit with oxygen mask and all that, preparation is huge to allow you to kind of conquer those fears. And so if you ever get too fearful of taking that step, then really what can you do to prepare for that moment so that you can at least take the first step and then let everything else come to you? So always been,
honestly, it's like, talking to somebody about it, like asking or expressing that fear, that can be a great relief and then a great first step to it, and like Charles has been really, really great for me with that, and like a really important avenue where I can just tell him what's on my heart, what I'm scared of or whatever, and then it's like, all right, well, that's done. So let's
like being vulnerable, like being okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah. Like knowing who you can be vulnerable with in like a real way. It's really important.
It's awesome.
Well, I think that is the perfect ending, Blake. So
have you done a podcast before?
Yeah,
bro.
It was Nick's first time too. So
no, this is my first time. So it was fun. So, hey, whenever y'all want me on, just let me know.
Oh, you'll be on, Blake. Don't worry. We got cool stuff cooking. Cool stuff is cooking. Probably the worst sentence I could have ever come up with. Whatever. Well, Blake, super grateful for you. This was a lot of fun. I was very, very excited for you to be on this podcast. Let people see you for you. You're almost unknown within the company now. They know of you. They know one of the co-founders' name is Blake, but don't get to meet a lot of people. So I hope this is a way for people to see how great Blake is, and I can't thank you enough for being on here. Well, do you want to thank some people for us?
Sign up for lifeguard training.
Yes,
we're coming up with summer.
So
make sure
we have the application link on our Instagram now. So that's been added. So you can click on there. And that's like a one-stop shop. So you don't have to click any buttons. Or I think you click DFW Houston. I'll have to double check it. But yeah, we made it as quickly as easily as possible for you guys to work with us for DFW in Houston.
Invite your friends.
Yeah, invite your friends. The more, and we encourage that. That's actually one thing I always preach. Like, we want you to work with your friends because we know if you're going to be top-notch hard worker, then your friends are probably going to be a top-notch hard worker too. So we love being able to continue those relationships, those friendships throughout Bearfoot, and grow in this journey together. So you absolutely are more welcome to do that. I'd love to see you all. We're still visiting schools, so if you see us, give us a high five. We'd love to talk with you guys. And last, I think it's just our appreciation for all our followers. So, and Blake gets to say thank you as well to all these lovely people. So not as many because this is only from like Friday to Monday, so it's kind of a shorter list. But read them off. Everybody gets their credit. Starting with Avery Adams. Thank you. Actually, it's a lifeguard, so thank you for following the podcast. Blake, this is where you get to see that I can't read very well as I try to read off these names. So, Bisiana Polisi. Thank you. Dylan Williams. Randall Smith. That's a jiu-jitsu guy, Blake. He's like 6'8" or something like that. He's super tall. He can literally put you into a Darce from like Close Guard, I swear. And Darces are one of his favorite moves. So Lexi Burns, Jacob Frank, GTX Nate, Damon McDaniel, Blake Drury, and Johnny Kwan. Thank you all for the follow. So really appreciate it. An actual snort chip. And I might be able to make it a reel So thank you all, or maybe not, for not getting more followers up on this page. But thank you all very much for following. Really appreciate it. That's what helps us grow. That's what helps us to interview wonderful humans like Blake all the time. And we have another interview next week on top of that. So secret guest star coming out and about. So looking forward to that. I know. And I'm not even going to tell you who it is. You just have to watch the next episode or listen to it on Spotify, whatever you want to do. So actually, YouTube is popping though.
Hey, on Saturday, actually, I was working out, listening to the podcast. So good job, guys.
See? Which episode?
Answer.
Yeah.
That's great. Had fun with it.
Which one was it? I totally talked during it.
Question and answer, part 1.
The Q&A, part 1.
Yeah, it's good.
That one's good. I don't know if I like the part 1 or part 2 better. I feel like they both had good stuff. I heard a lot of people said the top 10s was good.
Yeah, top 10s. My favorite. I think one of my favorite questions was the 7-foot rat or 100 rats.
By the way,
one of my favorite
7-foot rat is not the answer.
Really? I don't know, it's like 10,000 rats, dude.
I thought it was 100
I don't know.
rats. Isn't it 100 rats?
Was it 100?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, not 10,000. No.
Yeah, it was 100.
That's the
That's the bear.
Dude.
100 rats is still a lot. 100 of anything. You're
dealing with like a.
Oh, it was 100. Yeah.
At that point, like, come on now.
That is true. I think both scenarios I'm losing.
I felt like we had a good strategy though. You know, we wear it out and we take the back and choke it out.
Yeah, because that's easy.
Good luck with that. And then I was also going to tell you guys, very disappointed that Skyrim was not on your top 10 games.
It was 11.
Dude,
Tanner was close. He had a couple similar.
Hey, I had Fallout. I had some.
But
that type
Fallout, like Skyrim, is the OG of Fallout.
See, I never played Skyrim, so I couldn't put it on mine.
Well, you should change that.
Well, we got maybe video games part 2.
Yeah.
As I play video games maybe once a month.
After the summer, you go get Skyrim.
Go play Skyrim.
Over in November and play Skyrim.
Perfect. Y'all heard it. I'll stream it, because we'll be so famous by then, just making millions. Yeah. Tanner and I are gonna stream Skyrim together.
I wish I could play it for the first time again.
I hope I like it. See, that's what makes me nervous is like, what if I don't like it?
Yeah, then you can disappoint me. Great.
Feel like it.
Oh, no. Like the one thing I don't want to do is disappoint.
That's funny.
Oh, all right. Well, on that note, be on standby for Skyrim back up in October. And then a follow-up
content for you guys already.
Yeah. We'll have a follow-up podcast with Blake.
You'll see a return. Yeah.
And you'll just see his hopefully not disappointment.
Was Skyrim as great as Blake talked about? Did it live up to the hype?
I want to leave one of those like professional reviews that like, it's like, oh, I'm playing Skyrim and you can see like the graphics are, a little bit here, but the modifications that you can do and just go all and just kind of nerd out on a 12, 15 minute.
Hey, we got to get a barefoot lifeguard mod on Skyrim.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
That would be actually pretty
instead of the sword.
Dude, the tube is a sword, yes. Oh, but the barefoot tube as the sword. That way we can.
Yes.
Ooh, that's that's marketing right there.
Umbrella could be like a shield, have an umbrella.
Oh, yes.
The lifeguard tube sword.
And then we should, when we do the backboard, we should be to where you can kind of like slide on the backboard or something like that. As you're going, no.
Man.
Hey, man, we
need to find some.
We might need to open up.
We need to get going.
Yeah. I don't think it would cost too much.
We're gonna open up a new department called Barefoot Mods and just barefoot mod every game known to man. That's the dream. Well, Blake, thank you again. This has been super, super fun. So we'll definitely try to get you on again here soon. Special guest star next week. Be on the lookout. Yeah, that's all we got. So, Blake, you get to do hearts with us. We do hearts at the end of every, so you get to make a little heart to the camera. Yes, very good. So, hearts to everybody. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all later.